Hello, everybody, and welcome to Weird World. I'm Jeff.
Yeah, I'm Beth.
All right, we're bringing you something that's going viral on TikTok right now, and a lot of people are bitching up a storm about it. It's called vabbing. And what is it? What is vabbing? Vabbing is using vaginal fluids as perfume to get you laid. So, what is it really? All right, if you spend any time on TikTok over the last few weeks, you've been probably relentlessly confronted with, whether you like it or not, the concept of vabbing. A plethora of vaginal and basically, going inside, taking your lubrication and dabbing it in order for you to be able to, become irresistible. Basically, vabbing is a practice of women are using their vaginal fluids as a form of makeshift perfume, dabbing it behind their ears and on their wrists in an effort to attract suitors. The idea is that vaginal fluids release pheromones or chemical changes that elicit hormonal responses from others, thus ensuring that prospective sexual partners will catch a whiff and subsequently line up in droves. Now, this is not anything new. This has been going on for years and years and years and years and years. Not this part, but the whole thing about the pheromonal, perfumes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But when they did do studies on this,
Mm-hmm.
you good?
Yep.
When they did do studies on this, and so the natural inclination is that it's the only time that it matters when there's a serious increase is when women are not on the pill and they're at that time where they're starting to release their eggs.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, then there's a certain thing that attracts most men. You get a lot more attention from men because it's natural, development.
Right.
And I guess there's, in that time, but it only works for women who aren't taking the pill because, what happens when you take the pill? You're tricking the body to what?
Think it's pregnant.
Yeah, all the time. If you're already pregnant, then there isn't that response for a male to, time for fertilization.
Right.
Instinctively. So this one is a little bit different. It's just simply taking it and...
That's kind of going along the same lines as the person that did their facials with their period blood. Just stop. Stop. It's the same concept. Stop.
I was wondering how long I was going to be able to do it before I could be able to get yelled at.
I wasn't yelling at you. I'm yelling at
I know.
this.
Yeah. But it's just funny, though, that the whole thing is that there's a bunch of women, I guess, especially right now, are seriously starting to be able to do this shit right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and they even have it in here, which is true. Oh, they even did get into this. Ask a group of her clients to test it out on a trip to a crowded bar. Vaginal fluids, especially around ovulation.
Mm-hmm.
That's the time. Because there's really, and so you can only get pregnant, really, the numbers. You can only really get pregnant during one particular month or week out of the month.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 5-day window. Normally. But really, anytime you want to feel an extra boost of confidence, you can serve it as a love potion. All right, I got a question.
Yeah. Now we're delving into witchcraft. Awesome.
No. Actually, no. I'm actually now just going to be bringing it up. Not in a magic, because there is sex magic and there's a few other things. But what I'm just going to be bringing up is the part of using it as a love potion. But, okay, question thing is this. Yes, do you have more pheromones during ovulation? They were already able to prove that.
Right.
That's a yes. All right, they were able to prove that part of it. And especially this part. Actually, should I even be telling people this? Because then all of a sudden this is going to make it even more. Uh, but nobody's talking about it. Although a little bit they did about the ovulation part. But it serves as a love potion. But what about all the guys who eat down south anyways? Because it wouldn't make any difference if I'm eating down south anyways. Or would it?
I don't know. But normally, like, if you, like, vab before you go out, not everybody that you meet is, like, gonna, like, go downstairs anyway. So,
Really? Do not a lot of guys go down south and have dinner?
No, they do. I'm not saying that they don't, but I'm just saying, like...
You being a woman, and you know more than me.
I know that, they do, but, say if you did that and then you went out somewhere, every guy that, is attracted to you, you're not going to, allow them to do that.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that.
No.
I'm just, because there's, for, like, men who are with their women or dating or whatever, I just as a question, because they're talking about it as, like, a love potion, I wonder if there's any difference in some of it for guys who go downstairs in order to eat on a normal basis. Does that mean they get more attached to the females if they do that?
I don't know.
That's where I'm kind of going with it.
Oh, okay. Maybe I misunderstood where you were going.
No. And I'm sure I wasn't, because I'm trying to figure out how I can say it.
Right.
Because I gotta, we gotta hint around certain things, or YouTube and stuff. And that's not what I'm trying to do. So that's why I'm kind of like, all right, how am I supposed to say this in a way that's not going to get me nailed by YouTube? But that's where I was trying to go with this, is that if it's a chemical secretion by the vajas, and you're using it as a perfume, obviously, and some of that is more of a smell.
Yeah.
As you're releasing into the air. But I wonder sort of how it works, or if it even does, to the men who are eating down south.
I don't know.
Just as a thought. But yeah, so despite going mildly viral in 2019, so this thing went mildly viral in 2019? Oh, just the vabbing part. Vabbing recently started taking off in earnest on TikTok, like a couple weeks ago, when creators are either expressing disgust at the prospect of using their own vaginal fluids as perfume, or doing it, basically. In one viral video with more than 4 million views, somebody appears to try it at the gym for the first time, saying, "You guys aren't going to believe me, but now I'm in the sauna and it worked. The vabbing worked."
So does it only work when you add like hot steam to it? Like does that like help it?
Well, that's just it. Is that if you're trying to be able to have it go around, shall we say, it would have to be wet, for it to fly, for it to...
Right, release a smell, kind of like, Febreze or something.
Febreze. Oh, you killed me under the Febreze. Or whatever. And then we're talking about, I was in the sauna, hot ass, 100% humidity, but then it was working in the sauna?
Right, but nowhere else in the gym. Or was it just because it's such a high concentration of mist and it's like a closed-in space and the gym floor basically is so vast and large that, it's kind of like, somebody like,
Well, she does try to explain, I guess, that later explaining in a follow-up video, she was approached by a man for her number while doing lunges on the treadmill.
Oh, okay. I mean, it could possibly work.
Well, if it's her, she's not exactly an ugly woman. If she's got some, and if she was in a, nice tight suit and she's, decently bodied, sure. Of course, the research community has not prioritized studies on whether or not using a vaginal fluid as a perfume attracts sexual partners. Well, they've already kind of done a study on this already before. Mm-hmm. So there's very little data to support whether vabbing itself works. Vabbing. I would imagine that it's the only way and even then, the only time that there's high concentrations of pheromones are released is normally during that week of your pregnancy cycle. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if you were to extract everything at that moment in time, it would probably be having a lot more pheromones in it than normal. And of course you can't be on your period, or you can't be on the pill or anything along those lines. Otherwise, you're not actually having those cycles.
Right.
Because your body always thinks it's pregnant. So it doesn't do that cycle. And since most of these studies have been done on animals.
Aren't we animals?
Yes, but we're a little different.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Just, technically, yes, we are animals. But.
Right.
We aren't just completely ruled by our instincts. There have been studies done with humans that are not exactly conclusive. No kidding. In 1995, a Swiss study in Soviet known as Sweaty... Oh, yeah, I remember this. A Sweaty T-shirt study, in which biological researchers, Claus... whatever... gave female college students men's sweaty T-shirts and asked which they preferred by the smell. The women overwhelmingly said they preferred the ones that had a different gene profile than their own. I actually remember this study. It was actually a really neat study. It was a long time ago, but yeah, I remember it was actually pretty neat. They put, they made all these men sweat and just wear these shirts and whatever, and doing various things, whatever. And then they immediately, made them take their shirts off and then stuff them inside these big plastic bags, and they sealed them. Mm-hmm. All right, and they, they just numbered them, right? So they knew exactly who's, was what. So, and then they had women just, they would open up the different bags, whatever, and smell them, and then rate them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's how they basically did this study. It was actually a really interesting study. I actually watched it and stuff like that. Somebody put a whole thing on it, and it was actually a really, really good, interesting study. Since the sweaty T-shirt study, there have been many DNA matching dating startups and sweaty T-shirt parties based on the results, built around the idea that people can determine genetic compatibility by odor. Yeah. I know there's a couple of them and so I have even found where a guy who was normally he was an attractive looking guy, but all the women rejected his smell. Mm-hmm. They were like, oh, no. Even though he was an attractive dude. Of course, they didn't know that. They were only, smelling this. Coming to find out that he had a genetic disorder.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of the women, so that after smelling him and so that their bodies automatically rejected him instinctively because they didn't want that gene pool being affecting their kids. Oh. It was a kind of a neat little circumstance that actually happened. It wasn't a planned thing. And he didn't know he had an issue or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, pretty much I think like every woman rejected his smell, didn't like his smell at all. And then there's, which made the scientists go, how the hell, you know? And then they looked into him specifically, and so that more studies on him in order to go, why are these women instinctively rejecting you? You know, I mean, by looking at you, they wouldn't be rejecting you. Mm-hmm. But by smell, everyone rejected them. You know, and it's like, that's weird. So, of course, you know, and he was like, what the fuck? You know, it's like, what is this shit? So, of course, you know, he went through more stuff than any of the other ones. Mm-hmm. And they came to find out when they did a panel, and we're like, uh-oh, you have an issue. And it's like, what? So he actually found out about a genetic issue that he actually had. So, you know, but what happened after that, no idea. But, you know, hopefully he got some treatment. But many scientists, of course, are going to be critical of the study, obviously. Okay. Because it's something new and whatever. And so people just want to go, no. Although some of them state that although there are studies support the phenomenon, they are weak because they were not controlled. Okay. Mm-hmm. Others have proposed that human olfactory communication is able to perceive other certain pheromones that may play a role in behavioral as well as reproductive biology. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think that automatically. I don't have to be a scientist for that. Do you need to be a scientist to figure that out?
No.
You know, have you ever come across somebody that you smelled and all of a sudden you're like,
yeah,
the hell?
Right.
You know, and you're just repulsed by them?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. You're part of the study, but not controlled.
You can't control me.
No! Let me be free. So, is vabbing harmful? Not really. Could it potentially hurt your chances to get a date in a bar or the gym? Unless you specifically tell them that you've been vabbing, probably not.
Yeah, don't tell me that you do that shit ever.
What? It's kind of like ball sweat hair, you know? Here, how do you like me now?
I don't. In fact, I'd like you even less now. It's terrible. Stop it.
But there's scant evidence support that it works, making vabbing one of the many TikTok attraction hacks that don't really have any basis effect at all. Well, and then plus, of course, you know, there's also basic science that they're not coming into play with. Right. You know. So what are your last words on this thing about? What do you want to say? What do you think of vabbing? You going to go on out and start vabbing yourself?
No. I'm not vabbing or dabbing or anything like that. I'm not doing any of that.
You're not going to do any of that?
No.
Wow. All right. So, you know, I guess there's, you know, vabbing isn't in your future, I guess.
No.
Hey, you going to tell any of your friends so they can possibly start vabbing?
Like, yes. Smear yourself with your... with all of your orifice liquids. I mean, I don't think society can drop any lower. I mean, we're already starting to do that. So, you know.
Just be sure to post it on TikTok.
Yeah.
All right. Like, share, and comment below. We'd be really fascinated in finding out some if you decide that you're going to want to vab. And what your success rate is. Has it improved? Has it gotten worse?
How many people did you let know that you do this?
Yeah, you probably don't want to let people know you're doing it. You might get a negative reaction automatically.
Yeah, or at least a strange look.
Probably more than that. But, all right, everybody. So that, like, share, and comment below, and we'll see you again later. Thank you.
Bye.